kind of got us on this live was we were talking about retainer clients. And a lot of times what happens is starting off as a videographer or a photographer, you don't ever really know how to price your work. And so many new creators struggle with that. And it's hard to find out your pricing because different levels, you look up a YouTube video and they still don't give you a baseline.
Right. Yeah. Because it's like, the thing about it is, I think it's a combination of like experience and also knowing what the market value is at the moment, because it's ever changing. So like, I know what's going on in businesses and stuff like that, and you know what's going on in your world between, you know, sports and everything like that. Let me get this right. And it's just like, there we go. That's a little better. Now you can see my big ass head. It's just like, literally, it just comes down to when I'm learning from each client, I'm learning what their needs are. They have similar needs, pain points that I'm trying to fix. And it's just like, but when it comes down to it, it comes down to the content thing where they're just like, I want reels. I don't want long form videos. I want content. Basically, you're damn near turning into an agency or something of some kind. Because now, in a way, what's happening, their marketing spend is going down or whatever, or advertising budget really, because the marketing manager will do all that stuff, because they're doing the thing right now called UGC, the user generated content, and it's spreading like wildfire. So even though the economy is pulling back in a way, some of these companies are also playing to that notion where it's like, well, we can spend 1/10 of what we would on a commercial on Facebook advertising and get the same results, or get the results from people that are just tagging us in this products they're already using. So
I got a question. Tell me more about, what do you do whenever you are competing with a UGC creator? And if for those of you who don't know what UGC is user-generated content. Basically, these brands will reach out to people who have a big following and say, hey, look, just shoot a video with your phone. And that is more organic, because normally what happens is when people are on TikTok or on Instagram and they see a high-quality video, they automatically tune out because they think it's an ad. So if this UGC content creation, it misleads the viewer, and then they're like, oh, I kind of like this product. Then it leads to sales. I actually got a video this week that some brand Mobo sent me a little wireless phone mic, and they said, hey, you could have this for free if you review it. And I'll probably do some UGC style. So how do you, someone like you who's all about documentary, cinematography, how do you compete with someone at such a low price point?
You know, man, it's literally, like I said, it's one of those things where you got to understand the needs of what they're doing. And it's like, when I think of that, I think either way they're going to go with those guys. They're going to go with both. I see that happening. They're not choosing just one. They know better. But it's like, how you compete with them, I think obviously the work speaks for itself. So I'm kind of like outperform them. That's one thing, but also know what value that you're offering at the end of the day. I'm sure like you and I both know the way we edit, the way we work and understand things, we can push out probably twice as much more content versus what their lower price is. Because I think at the end of the day, if you're really helping a client get their end result, they really don't care how much they're paying. They're only playing possum now because they don't know the potential risks that could happen after. So I'm seeing that. So it just depends on the niche too, because some people they're working off margin, and that's just what they can do. So it just depends on what you're doing. It's almost like you got to play a similar game like them, but you just got to
I think too, it's communication to the client, because if the client thinks that cheaper equals better, then you might not want that client. You don't want to deal with someone who's worried about the price, because a good client, you always can filter people out. Whenever you get those messages, what are your rates? You already know that's a red flag right there. If their first question is, what are your rates? It can mean two things. It can mean they're cheap, or it might mean they're serious and like, let's get straight to it. So that's something you got to be aware of. But I think communicating in those sales calls is big, because I get a lot of inquiries on, man, how can I work with you? And I immediately will shoot them. See, this is against status quo, so you can tell me how you do it. But the way I do it is when someone inquires about work, depending on if I don't know them, I'm always just going to send them a link and say, hey, here's a video questionnaire, fill it out. Now, I know that's a lot different model compared to most people, because most people immediately want to get on a sales call and then filter them out with messaging and then take them to a sales call. I like to protect my time, and I don't want to waste my time if you're not going to take the time and fill out a questionnaire. You fill out the questionnaire. I know you for real. I kind of got some stuff to go off of. All the small talk's out the way. So that's how I kind of structure things. So how do you do it when someone will approach you and say, hey, I want to work with you. What's your rates?
Yeah, so you're in the space for now where you're like, people are coming in, they see you, they know what you do and all that stuff. So it's like you do have to protect your time, man. It's because it can affect how you work for sure. I'm not at that level yet, but it's like I think there's a mutual respect kind of thing in my world on both sides, not just business in general, you know, in multiple industries. So literally, I will most of the time outreach to them. It hasn't been quite word of mouth yet because I'm experimenting more so online and out of state versus just in my state in general. But since, like I said, I know that people are doing reels, I'm just hitting up everybody and getting back to them. I do actually get them on a call because I think it humanizes like what's happening. Because I need to know what's happening overall. Like I want to know this information right now if I didn't talk to any clients. This is all client information that I've studied over time. So I just try to just really honestly get it's opposite of you.
No, I hear you. I mean, basically, everything's going to happen in the sales call. So I'm not taking away from sales calls. Whenever what really broke the wall and the barrier with sales calls for me was whenever I started fitness training. I had purchased a course on sales from a sales coach, and I paid $1,500, and it was a full course, and they taught you sales. They specialized in high ticket coaching, and we all get like cringed when you hear that because everybody's a coach and everybody's selling a course. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to somebody who knows this, and that's what happened. And I learned the process of a sales call, and it led to $40 sessions to now $1,500 90-day programs. And like, who's going to pay $1,500 for 90-day programs? It comes in your sales call. So whenever it comes to your videos, it's something I think we can communicate differently when it comes to that, because when you think of photographer or you think of videographer, you and I both know there is about 500 questions that need to be asked whenever someone asks you. Brooks says sales is everything. That's right. Communicating is everything. So what I like to use, I use a lot of the same lines, and see those sales calls, you're getting those reps in, you're learning, you know, client interaction, you're learning all these things, what the pain point is. But the two biggest sales tips I can give anybody is, first off, when you start off, you got to really have the energy a little high, and then you want to also figure out, why are we on this call? Like, what can I do? What problem are we trying to solve? That could come from the video, the photo. What problem do we need to solve? And then from there, you know, they're going to, if they go to compare you, because you know your work, they obviously have reached out to you because they looked a little bit into your work. So they know a little bit about you. So whenever they hit you with certain things, you got to be ready. And so one thing I really enjoy, I've heard, is that they're like, well, why should we go with you? And you say, well, I'm not really sure you should. And so when you put that in them, they kind of like, whoa, what's this? And they chase you a little bit. And it's almost like a privilege if they break through and are able to work with you. So learning the psychology of sales, Chris Do, I'm sure you've heard of him. Yeah. I know. So watching sales calls on videos, that's a big thing in the communicative process. Now, it intrigued me that you're going to be going on a trip with these guys, and you're not making a 2-minute video. You're making a documentary 30 to 40, 50 minutes. So I guess how do you price that? I mean, do you price a day rate? Do you price an edit rate?
So Literally, I give them like a package deal, and it's because like they keep rehiring
Yeah,
me for stuff, and also they bring
sure.
more people and attention my way as well. So they
Mm-hmm.
like they get a solid like base from me because it's been allowing me
Mm-hmm.
to experiment a lot more, but also they pay for everything else that I do as well. You know, the flights,
Mm-hmm.
the this, the that, the whatever. And so I'm getting the experience, they're getting the experience, and we're just like literally just having a moment. So literally when I come to everybody else and I'm like really just sharpening the iron and I bring it to brands, I can, dude, I charge a lot more in a day
Mm-hmm.
versus what I do for them in a week. And so it's just like it in a and it's kind of like you're asking in a way, like in a world that lives so fast paced,
Mm-hmm.
how do you create something like this that big? The thing is, there's not a lot of these that's really big. It's understanding the overall concept, what you can take and control, and how many pieces you
Mm-hmm.
can pick apart from that and reduce
Yeah.
it to the level that's digestible. So, when I go back to other clients that don't think like them, it makes it easier to get in front of them and say, like, hey, we can take this in 60 seconds and make it be, the
Mm-hmm.
end result that you need it to be because X, Y, and Z reason. I try to take their points and merge it in the process, like really take them on a walk with it. They're the co-director and give it to them in their
Right.
mind, like they came up with the
Right.
idea. They feel like they're Picasso,
Yes.
even though we're
I love
using
it. I love it. I
so
love it. That's great. And you're hitting on something that I'm thinking about too. So you're right on there. And whenever
yeah,
somebody presents an idea, basically you take them from problem island to the solution, right? And you cause some sort of not doubt, not
mm-hmm.
purposeful doubt, but like you say, you provide value in a way that someone might not be thinking of. And with this particular
Mm-hmm.
client, normally you would charge a lot more for a lot less work. But because this is a relationship based client, you allow more freedom to move and create differently because they like your work. So you're also able to build some portfolio off of this
Right,
relationship when otherwise a random person you wouldn't.
right,
So
right.
a lot of times, people, they get
Yeah.
focused on how much a project costs over the relationship this client might give you.
Yeah, and there's a thing because it's
Mm-hmm.
like it feels like you're walking on eggshells, and I think people need to understand at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. Not every client is
Mm-hmm.
yours. Not everybody's going to approve your price, even if it's the industry that you like or a type of person or ideal client that you want. It may not be for you. Now it literally feels like a breakup or trying to walk up
Mm-hmm.
to a girl and get her number, you get denied, whatever it is that because I've had a lot of times where there's people that I wanted to work with and they didn't want to work with me because either my prices were too high. They liked the work. They came there and say, hey, we like your videos and stuff, but they ended up going with somebody else. But the world's not over. There's like so many people that are doing what I do and then some. And even then, if I didn't work with them, I talked to
Mm-hmm.
the filmer that they work with. So I know the inside scoop, like what's going on. So I know who pays what and what's happening where. And it's like, you don't know at the end of the day if
Yeah,
that was actually for you, and that's what you got to let go of. You
that's
just got to
it.
keep punching the bag, man. You're going to get 100 no's and that one yes means so much. So it's an interesting thing. So I don't know exactly. I walk into this blind too. So it's like when I get back,
Mm-hmm.
I have clients ready and I'm still putting in for 2 more jobs right now. The next one was my buddy. I was talking to a guy where he was looking for a videographer for his elk hunt in New Mexico. And my buddy is going with him tomorrow to where is he going? I don't know if they're going up through
Mm-hmm.
Idaho or what for bear hunting too. So I
Yeah,
already got his number. I was like,
that's
I
awesome.
said, what's up? Because I talked to him yesterday. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I got similar
I'm always in the
situations I've
loop,
been referred to by different people. Brooke, thank you for the claps. Callie, well, Taylor, I've been messaging you to film something for my new store opening. It doesn't matter the price. Callie, please be patient with me and continue to message because I do miss a lot of DMs and my questionnaire that I was referring to earlier. I haven't been able to get to them yet. There's like a waiting list of like 6 months right now. So, I mean, just forgive me if you don't hear from me, but continue to message me. It's not bothering me. But like you're mentioning, being a good resource for other creators is something that's very important too. So understanding that none of us are in competition. There's another marketing, company. There's another videographer. I'm never going to bash them because you never know what could happen in a situation where a relationship involves and your name comes around and you help that guy out. But recently this happened. One of the greatest, best creators in this area and I were at the same place. And there's a mutual respect between the two. And people think what I do is great, and what they call me the GOAT, they call him the GOAT. And it's always like, oh man, yeah, your stuff, his stuff. And I'm like, no, you got to understand, like, this is art, not science. So there's no wrong way to do something. It's just people are different. And what he does is different compared to what I do. And so whenever this happens, we met and we were shooting at the same event. He was getting paid for the event. Well, I was on stage just filming for the fun of it because it's famous people and I enjoy just having that content. And what happened was all his files got corrupted. And he lost all his footage. He was in a bind. And he came to me. And like this was a moment that I could have been, a shiesty guy like most creators would. Like people think it's competition, but it's really not. And I was like, bro, you ain't even got to say anymore. I was like, you can have whatever you need. I said, you just tag me and we're good. And he'll never forget. I got him out of that situation. And even though he gets all the praise for how cool the video was, he can have it because it's not what it's about. That good karma is going to come back around, and he knows in the future, like, Taylor's solid. So like you're mentioning too, whenever that guy was with the other guy you just spoke of, having those good relationships is crucial when it comes to business. So I think that's great that you're doing that. So whenever you're on these packaging deals, so let's say this is a one-off, right? This is something where you're going out for 3 weeks with a client, filming 50 minutes. Tell us about a normal client where I've seen some media company handles pop up in the chat. How do you price your work? Do you give them 3 options, or do you say it's this for this, it's this for this? How do you structure that?
So I customize it. Like I have 3 tier levels, like just straight off rip. Like if people are literally just priced, it's like it could be like 2,500 to 10,000. Like, if they're just like, hey, like, like if you're really that serious and you're just like, nah, I'm price, you're price shopping, I'm gonna give you a price because you asked. But a lot of times it's kind of like how your name is in there, Taylor. It's what it is. Like that's what you want. I'm not trying to rob nobody or whatever. I try to work with people that have a certain budget and stuff at least, because you don't want to shortchange yourself. I try to typically try to work with clients who already know their system and know the market well enough where they're actually turning a profit. So it's not just you're gambling all your money to make something happen. So typically how I do it, I do give them 3 options because you never know what they want. And I have an average, one can be just like a reel itself. I've done like a couple reels for a few thousand, and then there's other people that just want long videos and they cost 8,000, 6,000. It's just that it's the same. It stacks on top of it. So I'll do 30-second reel, will probably 60-second reel for one. If it's the second tier, it's like probably like a couple more reels and then an explainer video probably about a product or something. And then the third tier is like if you want to do a whole backstory of it, then you get a couple reels, some photos, and
that's interesting.
Whatever else.
So you got a single off video, and then you have almost like a branding package, and then like would the last one probably be like
a documentary, short doc, or tell your story, like, because I know some people that are new business owners, they want to tell the story about it and really like expand on it. But
I like
that for them that works more so well for events and stuff like that. Like I work with the what is it called? I think it's called Hunt for a Cure. Yeah. So I was just a videographer on that one, but it was like basically I like to work with events that try to help find cures for cancer, but also
Right.
work with outdoors people and stuff, or work with Ferraris. I try to, stay aligned with stuff that I know and stuff like that, and leave that package for them. But literally, if it's just like, hey, I need X amount of photos or X amount of reels, then we start going down a rabbit hole of like, what's it really worth and the time that they want to do. Because you get in the weeds a little bit, but you got to know stuff on your back end to like, know what's going on in their market.
So you ask the client, what's your budget?
Yeah, in a not, it's in a direct way, but not just that. It's just like, first off, I ask, have you worked with somebody who done this before? And if so, how much did you end up spending, and what was the result of it at that time?
That's slick. That's slick. Have you worked with a videographer or a film crew, or how do you note that? Have you worked with a videographer before? I'm writing this down because that's great. And if so, well, I got a question for you. If so, did you get the result? Wait, you said, what did you spend for that? Or how'd you did it? I got you.
Dang, I forget. It's like, all right, so did you work with a videographer before? If so, like, what was the outcome on that? Do you like remember?
If so, do you remember? I feel like you have to put those filler words in there like you just did, because if so, do you remember what you spent? Like, you got to butter it up and then lay it in there. If so.
Yeah, it's because it's like saying, what's your budget? It's kind of like, it flexes a little bit. You just got to know who you're talking to. That's why I get on a call to really lower the defenses. I'm not trying to get on just a sales call just to be salesy. I was a car salesman and I didn't do that great. So if you can sell what you like, you can probably sell it well because you actually believe in it, And so it's just like, I'm like, what do you need? How can I fix the problem? And like, do you think there's a middle ground that we can meet to be able to take that money and solve that issue? What can this money do for you? What is the value of it to you? Because at the end of the day, we can all make money. You can either spend money or not spend money. You get people all the time, hey, I love your videos and all that stuff, but I don't got no money, but I would love to work you. It's like, that's like complimenting a girl and not getting her number or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. So, and it tugs on you in a way emotionally, because you're like, you see where these people are at, but it's like, I can't. Everybody has a business, but it's like, there's only so long you can be underwater. Everybody has to come up for air. So you better, if you don't got the money to do it, you might as well do it yourself, because that's what we're doing.
Correct.
And it's trying to say that without being rude, but I don't remember ever asking anybody for a discount for my camera or anything.
Yeah, I love the ideas of not giving discounts. And if someone asks for a discount, we can handle it a few ways, right? We can say, well, I understand what you mean. You always acknowledge, and then you say, maybe we could do some things a little differently to work within your means. So let me ask you, do you normally go out on jobs just for photos, or are you always comboing them so you don't just go out for photos?
It's always, I typically always do video, and I hire a photographer to come with me, typically on a job, but I know photos are a big incentive these days. So it makes it easy nice anchor to add that person in and stuff like that. Like, if anything, for me, for my people, I love to help put people to work, because I know how bad I want it too. There's a lot of days where I'll have those dry spells and I'm just like, yo, and if I can do it and add that person to that package, it just means that much more. Some people really favor photos more than the video. They're like, oh, if I can have both quality and quantity.
Where are you located at?
But
San Antonio. If anybody is out there looking for a creator, San Antonio, I'm writing that down. I'm making a list of people, like, just spread out, because I'm always getting people. Yeah. I'm always
making a
getting people
Rolodex. Oh
asking
yeah, for
to
sure.
intern and like this, that. And I'm like, where you at? I'm like, dog, I'm in Louisiana. How we going to do that? But if ever I'm traveling and I might come that way, like, hey, I need you. Yeah, Hunter Marcel's in the chat.
Right.
He's an
Yeah.
outdoor creator. He's back and forth from Texas and stuff. He'd be a cool one for you guys to link. But whenever it
Nice.
comes to hiring a photographer, so I like that you brought this up because we want to do it all. We want to take the video, we want to take the photo, and then we're like, oh my God, I took way too much. So talk about a little bit,
Yeah.
what does it look like when you say you hired a photographer? How do you handle that process? What does that photographer give you? And then what do you pay for that?
So basically, I like to work with people that I like, that I just trust. Like, because if the client, they want somebody they know, like, and trust, I want somebody I know, like, and trust too. So it's easier to work with people that I know that can do well. I'm always watching. I do not mind paying
Right.
people that rightfully deserve it, you know? And it's like if I can get their price and they know what they want, their average price is whatever, I'll try to aim for like 25, 50%. And even if I can, I'll try to double it. I'll do the best I can, you know, but at the end of the day, photos
Right.
is something I don't want to do. And it's bad enough where I'm like, I'll pay you for it, you know? So, you know, just like you, just being on the radar like that, or some people ask me for a photographer. If I know somebody just on Instagram, I'll be like, I'll hand it
Same.
right over to them. I don't ask for
Yeah.
a percentage or whatever. Like, just take it.
Right.
Because I know what I'm not good at. You know, I pictures that move, great. If it doesn't move, even
Right.
better. But taking a photo, don't ask.
So let's say we got a new photographer in the chat right now. If you needed them for a job, let's say they had okay work, do you shoot a price or you ask them for this?
I potentially I would be like, how much do you want?
That's an open question though.
You know, and it almost, yeah, it is an open question. I'm like, okay. And then I kind of go down a rabbit hole because most of the time in those beginnings, it's usually an introverted, insecure photographer. A lot of photographers are introverts. And I just kind of like, I walk with them because I want to see them succeed. But I'm like, okay, how much were you making before? Once again, kind of thing. What's your previous history? Have you not ever done this at all? You know, you may have shot one or two things. Like I even hired my sister. My sister didn't even know what to do, and I paid her like $250. And I was like, have at it, you know. But let's see. But we need to knock down the walls of your insecurities right now. It's that base right there, and it's like I think once you get that taste of it, even if they're new and you can see them budding, like you can see that stuff kind of like that wall kind of go down a bit so they can be more of who they need to be. If they're really going down that rabbit hole, they'll go naturally, you know.
Let me ask you this. When you told her $250, what was her reaction?
She was like, really? She was impressed. And I'm like, look, I know you probably don't make that in a day. You probably make more in a week, but not in a day. But it's only for like.
And see, this is why I'm asking that question, because I think you and I, many times we're at a different mindset and we forget that entry mindset. And so if an entry mindset person who is hearing this and they're like, damn, $250 for an hour, whenever that, you know, depending on what kind of job it is, the job might be $2,500. So a $250, you know, bill is nothing to get that part of the process out of the way. So for $250, what do you expect from that person?
So from that person, I'm like, you can literally, I let them like shoot as much as they want to. I have an outline, obviously, we go through. I'm like, all right, this is what we can look to aim for, like different concepts and stuff, so they're not going in blind. And then also it's just like, if I can get like 15, 20 photos or more, like, and that works, cool. If there's stuff that you feel like that's garbage, let it go. But I'm like, let's look at it together and like, you know, see what we can get. But I'm also asking the client too.
That was my next question.
They're asking for, they're probably, some ask for less, some people asking more. I'll ask them first, but I'll bring it back to them and be like, all right, what can we do with this, and try to come up with those concepts already and try to get them familiar. I try to find something like that's already kind of familiar in a certain
Yeah.
area to make their lives a
So
little easier.
you hiring someone for $250 to tag along, take photographs, and photographs of you, some behind the scenes content. Definitely, that's you gotta get that behind the
I never even
scenes,
get
bro.
none of myself.
Hey, look,
I
if it
know,
wouldn't be
man.
for my
I
buddy
think
Hunter,
about
who
it
I
all the
mentioned,
time.
like I wouldn't be where I'm at because he always was out there shooting with me, and he would turn the camera on me. No one would know who I am if he wasn't there. So having those shooters, having those photographers, even if you pay $250 to have a photographer come with you, not even just get shots of you when you're working. That's advertisement. Don't be scared to spend the money on yourself. That's media. You can write that off. That's hiring a photographer. That's expensive or whatever. So whenever you're getting that photographer and you're now talking to the client, whenever they say, okay, you want videos and you want photos, how many photos? And then do you price per photo or do you price? Because I've heard of, I don't know how like people in the newspaper work, or if it's like 10 photos for $10,000. Like, how do you price photos?
Mm-hmm. All right, so for me, in the land of, I always said in the land. I was going to say like the land before time. In this era of 2023 of apps and everything, people like options and they like them fast. It's just like, I don't exactly know. I wouldn't even be able to price per photo, but I try to aim for like 20 to 50 and like, I try to aim for, like I said, 25 to 50% more than what they're asking at that price, because average they're asking 150 to 300. So if I can make them like, I don't know my percentages, but if I can make them five.
Hold on, you lost me. If what's 150 to 300? A picture?
So like, no, I'm sorry. Like some photographers say if they're entry level, like we were talking about, and I'm seeing their average prices between like 150 and 300.
Gotcha.
Like I try to get them more.
So whenever a client comes along, I mean, because I've heard of people selling like 10 photos for like a lot of money. And I'm just like, man, are they selling individuals or are they selling groups? Because what happens when I offer a video, basically when someone works with me, it's you're going to get a video, a 30-second reel, because what happens is they'll say, hey man, I want you to make a video. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. How long you want this video? I don't know, a minute or two. I'm like, how come? I don't know. I don't want to edit a minute or two video. I'm not doing it. Good point. And I'm just like, are you wanting this just to have, or are you wanting to go viral? Like, and of course, everybody wants to go viral. Yeah. And then you go into the explanation. The way you go viral is 100% watch time. If people watch your video 100%, then it sends to the algorithm like, hey, they like this. And if you make the video to where they don't notice it restarts, now they accidentally watched the video twice. Now you got a 200% watch rate. So your video keeps running. Now this isn't every case, but you get yourself, if you want to get out of a certain situation, you got to present a better road for them at the same time, basically. So that's kind of how you structure it. So I'm just curious, basically, I got off subject a little bit, but whenever we were talking, what do you offer for a video? So I'll offer like a 30-second video, and then I'll say maybe 10 to 15 solid photos. And what'll happen is I'll go out there and overshoot. I'll shoot 200, 300, 1,000 on accident. And then I will basically say, hey, I don't care, but this is where I think I might be wrong. And a lot of people might agree or disagree, but I'll give them the whole photo album. I'll say, hey, look, I'm not... What are you going to do with it? And you pick, I say, hey, look, go pick 10 to 15, and then I'll take my time and I'll touch them. Now, from that, when you do give them the whole album, they wasn't expecting that. They was like, oh, my God. And that's something that's big because you always want to over-deliver, obviously.
And I see, too, there's a reason why, like, now, there's an argument between only giving certain selects and then also like making people pay for the whole album and stuff like that. I think when you start talking at like a corporate level, then that's more of a technical thing, because it's like obviously they make more money on top of whatever you're giving them already. But for these smaller folks or whatever, I'm like, man, we don't want all that stuff. I'm not a hard drive stacker. I don't want it. I can't. I can't. I got enough stuff, dude. I got fishing poles, guns, camera equipment everywhere. Everything's going on, and it's just like I don't want it. And some people may not like that, but I'm like, I know they're not going to use all of it.
The client happy.
I just want to see that, that you're happy on your end, that you like what you're getting, and that you come back and refer your friends. Because after that, I'm going to ask you if you know anybody else that needs help.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Just like you.
I love that. LSU Odyssey, you're an inspiration. Thank you. Oh man, we got 78, y'all. Hold on. This is an NFL football player, 78 sacks, just got drafted. And so what's up, my brother? What's going on? This is Jaquelin Roy. He got drafted to the Minnesota Vikings. So yeah, man. Yeah, what's up, bro? Is it hot up there? Like it is down here? Probably not, but congrats on everything, bro. You'll do good up there, man.
That's right. There's one dude that's on the Minnesota Vikings. I forgot his name. I don't know if it's like Brett Robinson or whatever. Some dude. He's a tall dude, but he's like a bass fisherman now, and he's played on the Minnesota Vikings a long time. So 78 sacks, you got to go fishing with that guy. He's over there. He's in the locker room.
Yeah, he said it's 60 degrees. That's wild. That's nice. Bro, you know what's the cool story behind this? A lot of people don't realize is LSU football. He was an LSU player last year, this past season, and one of his coaches was on there too. I think it was Coach Pat Hill, maybe. And I've taken photos of them, and I've worked with them, and that's how we're on. He's jumping in the chat, telling me what's up. So becoming a valuable resource and just taking photos of everybody on the scene is very important. But what happened was that defensive line coach got hired by Minnesota Vikings. Now Jaquelin's back with him. How cool is that, man? And I see that a lot. Coaches will get hired by NFL teams and then meet back up with their college players. And people don't understand the chemistry that takes place in the development of the team and a player. And it's just really cool to see and to know all that inside information from just holding a camera. That's God's plan. I like that, Sax. Y'all supposed to be up there, man. Cool. Well, I wish y'all the best, bro. You was an athlete?
I was an athlete.
Yeah?
Not like that. Yeah, well, I played paintball. So
no way.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Around the nation doing that stuff and whatnot. But I used to get photos and stuff.
Yeah, no.
But it's on the micro.
That's cool.
Man, it ain't the NFL, dog.
That's fire, bro.
Footage and stuff like that. But yeah, man. I got to, grow up and play against some of my favorite people I played as a character in a video game. And
it's awesome, bro.
Magazines and
Heck yeah, I know, man. Well, that's what's cool, bro. I'm trying to think of any. Does anybody else have any other questions as far as like creative work, photographer, videographer? Okay, let's run it.
I got a question for you. Check this out. This is a scenario that happened to me, and this I don't think they're in the chat, but this is what happened to me. So for one event, obviously for their marketing, they're using not even UGC, just people that tag them, and they're just posting it, right? I asked them if I could shoot the event. They said, no, we're good. Okay, cool. I asked if, is there, I have to have a media pass, because usually for some like gathering and stuff, you got to have that. Nothing. Okay, cool. I'm rocking around with this big old Blackmagic 6K that's running around a course, and there's some guys that was, they're you could say influencers in a way. And they're not bad people or whatever, but it was just like so happened that I was shooting there and I was just rolling with them, chilling or whatever. And I shot all this stuff for myself because I was like,
I always pull up with a camera for free.
The event or whatever. Yeah. So it was like that. And I was doing it for me. I'm like, well, if they ain't going to grab the audience that they can amass to, I was like, then I will. Because over time, it's still evergreen content. You type in the name, everybody else pops up, not the actual company or event people that throw the event itself. So I did all this work. I was rolling with the crew or whatever. Now they get a kickback for all the gear that they have, just the tools they use on the platform. I'm trying not to be specific and everything like that. And it's like they have sponsors or whatever because they're getting paid that way with the products that they use. And so literally at the end of the day, they're like,
I was hoping you didn't just ask that.
And I was like, I just looked at the message like,
oh my gosh.
And I'm like, if you have any questions, give me a call. I'm like, bro, hold on. Whether you know or not,
Jeez.
I don't think you understand what you're doing right there. Because I know how the game works. And I actually been invited to like the influencer space. I'm not a fan. That's probably why I don't post a lot. But I got asked by a company, like an ammo company. They're like, hey, we'll actually pay you to shoot our ammo and use it and make videos and whatnot. And reasonable amount and time, space, or whatever they wanted. But I was like, and I thought about it. But just to go and see in that world and see people physically be that and what they are, and other people that I didn't know at all, and then pop up in my feed on Instagram, I was like, why is everybody trying to be something? They're paying all this money for the gear and all that stuff.
I know. People just they off, man. Hold on, we got some questions coming in. Hold on, DC. So do you know Lil Boosie? Do you know Lil Boosie? Okay, so he's got a daughter. I don't know if have you heard of her, Poison Ivy? Okay. Have you seen her videos?
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you did, it's from DC Visuals. That's one of her videographers. So he's gonna be coming shoot some sports with me this season, and so he's got some. I like his work, but he says the camera stays with me. I said, I feel you, bro. I always got it.
Yeah, always. Oh,
DC
is this him that
Visuals.
did this right here for Aggravated? Did you do that music video?
Yeah. He's got some effects. Yeah. And then let's see. Brooke says, this is for both of you guys. Best video software and favorite equipment. Good question. You could go first, bro. You go ahead and let him out.
Ooh. Well, right now I had a come into Jesus moment, and I like DaVinci Resolve not just because it's better
auto
system,
saves.
Doesn't bottleneck anything.
Dynamic zoom
crash,
button.
Auto saves. Dynamic zoom. All the
one time fee.
I still love Premiere, bilingual. I gotta have both.
Yeah.
One-time fee, lifetime fee. Their updates are even smoother, even if they have a problem in a shorter span of time, they fix it. So DaVinci Resolve is a software I use. Even I recommend for everybody across the board that just want to use the free version and experiment with simple stuff. Do that. Favorite piece of equipment.
Wait, hold on. I think she may have asked. Node Science is a blast. Yeah, I know. He said he did shoot that. Yeah.
Dog.
He's cold, bro.
I haven't watched
he's cold. Hold on, I'm looking back for the question. Oh, it's right here. I pinned it. This is for both of you. So your favorite equipment, are you asking for, Brooke, are you asking for his favorite piece of equipment or like what kind of camera? She said one-time fee. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve, you pay for it one time.
Yeah, one-time fee.
And that's it. It's not a monthly subscription like Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is Adobe subscription every month. Now one fallback is just definitely something that I wish I knew Premiere right now, because did you see the recent AI software called Autopod? That's a plugin into Premiere Pro. Bro,
is that the one where it edits for you?
Bro, you got to do. Oh, you still know Premiere?
I see it.
Oh man, see, I wish I could, because right now I just want to download Premiere. We have it at work. Our new editor knows Premiere, but he's so busy. But I want to put in a 3-camera situation and watch the AI do it. Man, dude, I'm watching. It's like eating. And so today I actually found something. Have you ever heard of the Blackmagic ATM switcher?
I did. Bro, I don't know what it is.
I'm about to put you on game.
I scroll by it every
I'm about to put you on game. Yes, live. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I've learned. I'm going to save you guys 500 minutes of useless information whenever you want to look this up.
This must be your favorite.
So this is equipment
You
I
answer
don't
my question.
have yet, but this is something I think down the line. I need to switch. Hold on. Let me just stick to her question real quick because I could just get carried away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
So
I don't know what equipment
D
yet.
Visual said it's wicked. AutoCAD's wicked. What's up, Sally? So software, DaVinci Resolve, you can download that from blackmagicdesign.com. There's a studio version and there's a free version as well. You can download the free version, see how you like it, get familiar with it. As far as your phone, CapCut is probably the best and most powerful app you can do. You can add auto captions, you can keyframe, you can add GIFs. We literally pay editors to use CapCut. So you can learn CapCut on YouTube by watching a video each day before you go edit. So if you get frustrated or editing on your phone is aggravating because you just don't get it, just do this. Just watch a YouTube video, type in how to edit on CapCut. Play with CapCut after on the thing you just learned, and as soon as you get aggravated with it, put it down. That's it. You'll be good. But CapCut can track, CapCut can do some crazy shit. Okay. And then that's where you can literally go to creators or businesses and literally take their content that's long form YouTube videos, and then go make it vertical and say, hey, look, Instagram Reels, TikToks, this is where it's at. So whenever you show them what you can do and repurpose content, you could do that with a free app on your phone that you learn for free on YouTube. It is 2023. It's basically just given to you if you want it. So you also have to find people who value that, because if somebody doesn't value that, you're wasting your time, because there's so many people who are looking for content creators. If somebody is saying what a waste of time social media is and they're trying to run a business, or they say they could do it from their phone, stay away from people like that. Let them do it. Yeah. So being a content creator will change your life. And I always will promote this message, because I remember being full of grease and dust, tired in the rain and cold. And I'm just like, I hate this. And I have to get out of this. And it's possible. I make TikToks and Instagram for a living now, and I learned it for free. So I always just tell people who's in media, who's in the creative space, keep going.
And the number one thing, like you're saying, to add on to that, you don't got to be perfect, just go. Because a lot of people, especially since the beginning of COVID till now, where they are then to where they are now is amazing. They may not be my cup of tea till this day, but because they did it fast and they activated whatever they knew now and just kept going, they got it, So
I like that. I like that info. So back to the thank you, good info, guys. I'm taking notes too. Yeah, Brooke, that's awesome. What I plan to do is basically from these lives trim content, but I'm at a point right now where I'm just so damn busy. I'm sitting on 10 projects right now. But once this slows down, we're building right now. Last week was probably the most productive week I've had at work. My full-time job as a content creator for a law firm. Basically, it was my editor's first full week, and he did so much better than I was expecting. And whenever that happened, what's that noise? Is it me? I'm hearing some backbeat. Are y'all hearing that? No? I'm tripping.
I don't hear anything.
I definitely hear it. Okay. Anyways.
I wonder if I got some smudge on there. No.
I got it.
Got good lights. That's all.
Yeah. So he was way better than what I was expecting. So now I realize the speed at which now I'll be able to move. So once I build that cushion at work and I teach those processes and I have a clone, now I can get some breathing room. And now I can teach this. So I think, man, y'all don't hear that? I don't know. My stuff started tripping.
I don't hear it.
Hold on.
You might got better headphones than me.
Hold on. I'm gonna go deaf. Hold on. Check. Frank, I still hear it. I don't know. Who knows? But I think this was a good talk, basically talking with other people, because price-wise, or let me ask you this: how do you send your photos to your clients?
So I do it through Dropbox. When I work with a
Dropbox.
photographer, I do everything. I give them their own folder. It's photography. They let them fill it up that way. When I'm working on a video, I treat photos as like cookies, as like its own appetizer. Because if anything, let's say something is delayed on my end, hopefully not, or something goes wrong or whatever, you got photos at least to hold them over that they can start looking at to see some type of progress. Because some people, I'm not even gonna lie, they kind of slow. You could be editing and you didn't even color the footage, and they were like, they want to pop it up there, and I'm like, yo, what are they doing?
Funny.
So, I try to do that. I try to work quick and efficient as possible, but I realize I'm only quick and efficient for people that are moving enough to make something happen. If they're not making nothing, for example, saying, hey, I like your work, I can't pay you, but I want you to work out 100%. While I take the video and go charge people 100% for the price that I'm going to sell it for, you're not going to get the speed, effort, and love, the results that you want at all. Doesn't matter. Even if you're a good person. Some people need to realize that. So stay away from people like that. Compliments are easy.
You're right.
Do what you got.
I've also heard the science behind getting the photos to the client within 24 hours. And the way that happens is they're still tied to the event. It's still fresh in their minds. And whenever I heard that, it really made me step it up, because I would take my time with the photos. But if that's a proven, I think I'm hearing yours. Oh, you got me on speakers? God dang, I don't know.
No, I got my head.
Oh, it's tripping me out. But getting those photos back within 24 hours is important. So what I do is, after a shoot, I'll go upload them all into Lightroom, the mobile, like on desktop, and then I'll go through there and copy that album link, and then you can select allow JPEG downloads, and I will literally send them that, and then tell them to like or comment on which ones they do, and that's how I share. Now, I am worried if it's a lower resolution compared to sharing it to like Google Photos. Like, I got a buddy who's like a pixel peeper. He says Google Photos is how he shares without losing quality. So I don't really care for a Dropbox workflow. Like, I'll use Dropbox with my company, but like sending a client, that it's also taking up storage, right? Do you tell them to download, or like do you hold it in Dropbox, or how do you do that?
So I let them know it's only open for a certain amount of time. Make sure that they download it, because if not, it's going to be deleted. But I make sure that they get it first. If it's something that's very, very important, I back it up, and I'll leave it for a little bit, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, depending on what it is. That depends on the relationship, really. But other than that, they want their stuff fast, It's like the same thing you said within 24 hours. I try to get them a proposal within 24 hours. I'll build the whole thing, whatever. I'll leave work. I'll go, and work on that. So it's front of mind. But I see every time you.
No, I hear you. DC says, if I shoot a video and snap photos, I'm offloading them in real time on my phone. WeTransfer doesn't compress either. I send a lot of videos and photos through WeTransfer as well.
Nice.
Really?
I had a lot of problems with WeTransfer, but that's why I went to Dropbox, because usually I used WeTransfer for most of my life when I had it, but some people couldn't like download the link or something like that. I don't know why. So I just started doing Dropbox, and if I needed to,
I got you. Google. Yeah, I like WeTransfer, the app, and desktop sometimes. How do you get them? If I shoot a video, what do you mean video? In real time? You're offloading your video in real time to them, or are you just meaning like you're immediately getting them the photos?
I know sometimes you could say he could airdrop them if it's too.
So I have a dongle. This word is so weird. Isn't the word dongle so weird?
The dongle.
So I got a dongle. And what it is, I got a dongle right here. You take your SD card out, put it in here and you plug this in the bottom of your iPhone. You could drop those photos quick. The only issue is they're not going to be edited if you give them to a client. But I will say this is a good trick too.
Right.
Whenever you're on the scene and you're doing your photography stuff with your client, I would always review. Now, this is probably debatable to some creators. Not everyone's as friendly as me, but I always show them those pictures on scene because those pictures will never look that good as they will on the back of that camera. Because you got to think, as soon as you upload them into Lightroom and you send them through text message or whatever, it's going to lose its quality. So when you show them the picture in your camera, they're going to be like, holy shit. But it's only ever going to look that good. And also, too, whenever you get back in the edit room and you send them the photos, and they're like, man, you don't have no shots of this? And you're like, bro, we never even talked about that. Man, I was hoping you got them like that. So when you're on the scene, you show them all the photos, they're like, I can't wait. They could also tell you something else that they wanted, so you avoid that conflict. Yeah, they should have said something, of course, but you don't want to go through that friction with your client. So that's something that's good.
Right. Yeah, I had some, man, I bombed on a project one time and blew back up. I had a day, I left my camera in time-lapse mode and didn't show it. And I was with my, I had my Blackmagic 6K and I was shooting in 6K and I had a screen on top and you could see it and it just looks so good because there's like a LUT on top that face that goes in. It was so
I've had people say this looks better than real life. Like, yeah,
exactly. And then I went home and I saw the footage and it went through like, I saw my life flash before my eyes. I was on this floor right here, face down, like, please, Lord Jesus. God. I was like, I don't want to die. Yeah, but I came back, had to wait a few days. I sulked a little bit. I just stayed in my room. But man, when I came back and did the video, I already had the shots in my head. We banged it out and it came out fire. So that one's the top 10 posts on my page right there. And that brand, they were so hyped up. It's a German gun manufacturer. So they had a new over-under.
Nice.
Those guns sold like wildfire.
That's fire. Ricky the Shooter, thank you for the flames. Brooks said the anticipation.
That was crazy.
Yeah. GC says, I'm offloading photos, raw format on my Canon. Okay, hold on. I'm offloading photos, CR3 format on my Canon and straight to Lightroom Mobile. How are you doing that? Are you tethering them? How are you getting them from your camera to your phone? Brooks says the anticipation.
Bro, that's stupid fast.
Now,
I
bet. Now, I've seen sports photographers, like LSU photographers, taking photos with something linked inside that camera, and I think it's uploading to something, and there's another little minion behind him, like, taking all those photos, and, like, because they're getting that stuff out real time, and I watch them work, bro, and it's the most fascinating system they have, like, on the field, and they're posting real time, like, Gus, the photographer at LSU, he's getting them, lighting them up, and I see him checking his phone, and I'm like, damn, what's that process that they could get them out so quick? And then somebody comes around with a laptop, grabs this, plugs it in, gives it to him, goes to the next camera guy. Like, it's the most fire operation they have.
I've done that one time. Yeah, I've done that for a big fight through HBO or something like that, those actual, like, boxing matches. Yeah, so that's another story where I bombed. But
this is lessons. You gotta lose.
At the same time. You guys will not have perfect.
Something's gonna go wrong.
It's not gonna happen. I thought I was. I thought my first time would be the time that I screw up, and then no, it was actually the time when I worked for a brand, a big one, that I screwed up, and that one, it was like a big old